Okay, so we are back, and today we're going to go into setting up the sort of inside of the light bulb, the reflector, the bulb itself, and so on here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to isolate this just to get everything else out of the way here. Go into edge mode. So I have a tactical light myself. It's not this specific light, but they're all pretty much arranged the same way. So this is what we have here. There's that sort of reflector dish thing going on, and these lights have today they have what's called a Cree LED. At least some of them do. Mine does as well. And what it looks like is just sort of this flat bulb here, and they emit quite a bit of light, really bright. So this is pretty simple here. Okay, this reflector is just a hemisphere, so a sphere cut in half, which is then sort of elongated to get it closer to more of a cone shape than a half sphere shape. And then there's a lip on this thing, so that when it sits in there, and sometimes at least with mine, there's a bit of a gasket around here, and then of course there's the glass on the front. So pretty simple setup there. So let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna go into, we're in edge mode right now. I'm going to delete this edge loop in here, control backspace. I'm going to select this one and bring it back here. You know what, I'm going to delete this guy here too. So let's go ahead. So we got to decide how deep everything starts. So I guess we can look at the original. Where is it? Right there. So not too deep in there. So say we go about there, and then now there's two ways we can do this here. If we want that reflector lip to have a shelf to sit on, what we can do is get our scale tool and extrude out a little bit of a lip like that, maybe not too much, and then extrude backward. Now we're not going to need to cap this off or whatnot, because that reflector dish is going to completely block off the inside of this, so that should be good. Yeah, we can do it that way. Or, let me think. So a lot of these lights, this front part right here, this strike bezel actually unscrews so you can get in to the components on the other side. So in that case, you might actually have, so let's go back and let's go to edge mode. So instead of a shelf that comes out like that, you might actually have something that goes inward. So if I look at it from here, you might actually have something that goes inward, so that lens, the glass sits up against this, and then you, kind of hard to do this from this angle, you extrude inward from there. So maybe we extrude inward like this, and then have that shelf for the reflector to sit on. So something like that. Now, again, these are details that maybe we don't even need to worry about, but sometimes I like to mess with stuff like this. So like that, and then I feel like it needs to be thicker, and then just extrude backwards. So I'm going to go with that. Okay, so then our reflector, now let me remind myself, I double click this, 36 edges, so we can either duplicate off the inner surface and make the reflector out of that, or just make a new one. So let's go to a sphere and segments 36. Okay, and that should be good. I'm going to convert this to an editable poly and go to polygon, select the top half of it. Oops. Delete that. Now my polygons on the inside are obviously backward. The normals are facing outward. I want them to face inward. So we can just select all this and flip. So now it's that way. Then we can just scale this something like that. Now, at least with my own flashlight, I found that it had a sort of more drastic angle to it. So the way that's easy to do that, if we go in here and get an FFD 2x2, open up here, go to control points, select those bottom points, and scale them in something like that. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. And then we need this hole at the bottom here. So let's go add an edit poly on top. Let's go to polygon and decide where we want this hole to be. What I'm actually going to do is go into vertex. When I think about it, select those. I'm going to flatten them out, just scale them flat, and then move them up so we get a flat section at the bottom of our sphere here. And there's a little bit of a lip going on there. Oh, a little bit of a lip going on there, so we'll throw that in there as well. So let's go to, I'm going to control click my polygon. That's just going to convert it to a polygon selection. I'm going to shrink it and delete. And then I'm going to go to edge. Or actually, I can go to border, click on here, scale it out. Something like that. And if that's not wide enough, we can grow and scale that. And then maybe move this upward. So that looks good to me. You can always adjust it later. Maybe scale this flat again. Okay, and maybe move it up just a hair. So let's look at this again. So it comes there, dips down a little bit, then goes across. So what I'm going to do is swift loop right here, if it'll, there we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to scale this in a little bit, not so much. And then I'm going to chamfer it. Maybe do two. Okay. Go to polygon, click one, shift click the next one. Let's just move this down a little bit, just a little bit. Edge, select that. Let's chamfer that, and we'll use the same settings. Hit OK. So if I put a turbo smooth on that, let's isoline it. We're getting, good Lord, where'd it go? There. We're getting that. Hate how that does that. If I hit Z, and then there we go. Okay. Let's go back to polygon. And I'm going to grow my selection twice. 1, 2. And just move it down and maybe scale it in just a little bit. Yeah, okay. I think I like that better. Okay. So and then up here, oh, it looks like I accidentally cut in something here, so just double click and control backspace. Go to this edge here, hold down shift and scale it outward. That's going to be our little shelf. Okay, select this chamfer, so let's increase it. Okay, go to Swift Loop. I'm just going to put a support loop right there. And this is our reflector. Going to delete the turbo smooth since I don't really need it. Go to element, clear all, smoothing groups, apply. Actually, make sure the entire element selected, clear all, then apply one. So that is it unsmoothed, but it's smooth enough that I probably won't need to smooth it. So that only is 612 polygons. Okay, so it's really low. One of my sort of philosophies for modeling is, 36 sides may have been a lot for this, but if you're not planning on smoothing it, it's right about perfect. If you're going to smooth something, if I was going to smooth it, then I could have gone with a lower poly count, because knowing that it would smooth out with the smooth. But like this, I get a 612 poly count, which is just nothing, and I don't have to smooth it unless I'm really coming in close on that flashlight. I'm not going to have to smooth that. Okay, so let's get this border edge here just so that we add some dimension to this. I'm just going to pull this down so that I can then go to edge mode and double click this and just do a chamfer. And we'll make this a small chamfer with one segment, just so we're not adding too many more polygons. Something like that. And again, let's go to element, select this, clear all, one. There we go. Okay, so let's rotate this. So hit A for angle snap if it got turned off. I want to rotate this 90 degrees. And let's align it to this. And of course I did not. I'm going to say okay. And yeah, okay, it aligned just fine. Pull it out. Oops, wrong button. And let's scale this up. And move it back. We want it to sit there. Let's scale up just a hair. And move it back. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm not here. I'm going to turn off the turbo smooth on this guy. And we can scale this. There we go. A little bit more. Yep. Down. Really finicky scaling. Okay. So right there is our reflector. Okay. Now I'm going to isolate this just so I can come in here and do some chamfers. This, and this, and this. And let's, we could probably just set these to one segment so we're not adding as many polygons. Cut in a support edge loop there. Maybe one here. Maybe one down the center here. Okay. So let's end this and then add this and then re-isolate. And I'm just going to put a different shader on there just to be able to differentiate. I have a steel shader. Okay. So that's looking pretty good, I think. Save my file. So the light bulb. See, these are a little tricky. So, oh yeah, here we go. So it's basically a flat little square, and then there's like a glass ball over it, which is interesting. So if you want to know the math behind all this, there you go. I absolutely do not want to know the math behind all this. So, okay. For the LED itself, the little flat square thing. So it's like a flat square, and then it's inside of a pretty much a perfectly cut in half sphere. So it really can't get any easier than that. So let's go ahead and make that. Let's start with a box. Okay, so let's make it 20 by 20, and then just drop the height down. It's really just like a chiclet. Yeah. Do I wanna, here, let's convert this to an editable poly. Select all the edges and chamfer. And the chamfer here, I don't think I'll ever smooth this thing. It's more to sort of catch light more than anything else. Zoom in. Okay, so those edges just catch light. And in fact, just to be more efficient on my polygons here, I can actually just delete. In fact, let's grow it. And so we've got 9 polygons selected that we can now delete. So we've saved ourselves 9 polygons for a total of 17. Good enough. Let's get a sphere. And for this one, I'm gonna go down to, let's try 24. What's 24 look like? So 24 segments is a total of 528 polygons. And given that I'm going to cut that in half, that's going to get real small. Let's go to 30. So it's 840. So about what, 420? 420. Okay, let's go to 26. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Make an editable poly and polygon. Let's delete the bottom half. And let's go up one. Okay. So let's align this object to this object. Hit OK, so it's centered over it, and let's make it smaller. Oh, did I go too? You know what? I think I deleted too many. Let's go polygon, shrink one. There we go. And again, align. Okay. So this sphere goes beyond the bottom of that thing, which is fine because it'll be hidden. So let's see how tight on this we want. Yeah, whatever. So something like that. Okay, now what you'll notice is, if we go back to this, you notice there's a little bit of refraction going on here. So when we put a glass shader on here, when it's going to be rendered and whatnot, we will get a little bit of refraction, which should be good. Okay, now I don't know if I need to seal this off to get those refractions or not. I don't think I do. I think it'll be fine. Now again, just to save on some triangles, or save on some polygons, I should say. I'm gonna select every other one. And remove them. So that's a grand total of 169 polygons for this. Sounds good to me. All right, so I'm going to take these two, see if I can align them both at the same time. Going to rotate them 90, align them to this object, hit OK. So obviously I need to shrink this way down. Okay. So I guess something like that, right? So the light bulb is actually sitting on a thing, and then it's got a cutout for it. So we can do that pretty easily. I'm going to hide. So LED glass, I don't know. Just so I can find it later after I hide it. So, and oh, it's not what I wanted to do. Let's just hide selection. I'm going to take my LED and I'm going to just flip it like this. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to wait to do that. Okay. So what we can do is, yeah, we can use this object to create that. So hold on Shift. Actually, no, that's not going to work out very well. Let's just make our own plane. Here we go. Plane. Save my file first. Plane. Draw a plane. Go 20 by 20 just to make it, no, 20. Here we go. And I'm going to, let's go, maybe not, maybe 3 by 3. Yeah, let's go 3 by 3. Gonna rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to align it to this guy. Okay. And I'm going to select these three things. I'm going to isolate those. Now, yeah, okay. So with our plane here, I'm going to convert it to an editable poly, open this up. Let's go into vertex. And what's the best way to do this here? I'm going to select these 4 and scale them up until the corners are hitting the edge of the reflector, because as you can see, that's what's happening here. And then now by doing that, of course, I have thrown these out of alignment. So Easy way to fix that. Select these two, turn on my snaps, get my move tool, just snap them there, and then these two, snap them there, these two, and these two. There we go. Okay. So now there's so it's basically a cutout here. So what we can do is actually let's duplicate this. Just shift and grab it and make it a copy. And then with this one, the first one, I'm going to go to polygon and I'm going to delete this polygon. Okay. Then I'm going to go to edge mode or border just to make it faster. And I'm going to extrude this one back. Okay. Then I'm just going to do some chamfers. Will work now. So grab all of that, make sure we get it all, and just do a quick chamfer. And not that big. See what 2 looks like. Yeah, no. Okay. And if we want, we can scale this down a little bit. All right. And now we can take both of these, this and this, and I'm just going to do a 45-degree angle because I just like that better aesthetically. And then we need the light gray backing there, which is what that second plane is for. You know, might as well rotate this 45 degrees as well. And we're just going to move this there. Take this, slide it back so it's actually contacting that. For this one, just so we can differentiate between them, I'm going to put the gunmetal on there. For this one, I'm going to put the steel. Okay, and then I need my sphere back, wherever it went. What did I call it? Of course, now I've forgotten what I called it. So let's LED glass. There we go. Let's see, is that too big? No, it looks like it pretty touches the edges there. So I think that's good. And it should be something like that. And I think, save my file quick. Do I have a glass? Maybe. Do I? Maybe I don't. Well, let's make one anyway. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a standard shader, just double click it, drop the opacity, just go down about 10, and increase my specularity, increase my gloss, and right click on it and show shaded material in viewport. That thing is selected, so assign material to selection, so it'll make it transparent. And I took it down to 10% so I could still see it. If you take it down to 0, it's going to be completely invisible. This way I can still see it. And while we're in the material editor, so I'm going to call this one glass. Let's do another standard. And these are, again, these are just stand-ins for now. We'll just call this Cree. And it's just going to be a bright yellow. So something like that. Okay. Yeah, and that's really all I need for that, which is going to be for this thing selected from back here and assign this. Let's make sure we show this in the viewport. Okay, so this guy, well, you know, it doesn't matter. I can shrink this down, but it really doesn't matter. In fact, this one here we can get rid just to save on polygon. It's only 9 polygons, but we don't need all these edges, so I'm just going to double click them and get rid of them. So we have 1 polygon. So you save polygons where you can, especially with some of the waste that I've done on this gun model. All right, let's end our isolation. So there we go. So now the glass on the front. Oh, and then you can see how this is not a perfectly smooth surface. That will be done in texturing. So I'll have some kind of normal map or something to make this more wavy, so it's not a perfectly crisp, perfect chromed out surface. It's gonna be distorted like that. Okay. The glass on the front is basically just a cylinder. So I like to give, you know, anytime I make glass like this, I like to give it thickness so that it refracts correctly. The sphere in there is going to be treated like one solid piece of glass, I think, which in this case might be fine. But for the glass on the front, which is probably plastic, not more than glass, but we're going to make a cylinder. Make it a really thin cylinder. And before I detail this, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and then align it to that reflector. Hit OK. And then shrink it down and bring it forward. And let's scale it in there and see where we are. Move it back a little bit. I can actually scale it up. There we go. Maybe make it a little smaller, a little thinner. Okay, right there. Okay, you know what? I might actually move it back. Then I can put a gasket in there. Let's go to wireframe. Just make sure we're sitting up against that. Yeah, we are. Okay, so isolate this and go back out of wireframe. Okay. So what I'm going to do is simply convert this to an editable poly and edge mode, double click, and chamfer this. Okay. And just because this probably would get smoothed, let's call this flashlight glass. I'm thinking that I will probably go in edge mode, select one and ring, do a connect, and we're going to slide this up to here just as a support edge. What happens if I add this? It's going to be down there. So let's undo that. We want it there, and then hit the plus and select this one and ring it and put a negative in front of that and then hit OK. Okay, then usually what I'll do is I'll take these here, get my scale, and notice I'm not going to scale on 3 axes because it's going to, actually no, it didn't, because I'm not scaling from the center of the selection. So I guess in this case I'm going to scale these way down. Then I'm going to go in, well, I'm in edge mode, so again, let's just get Q. So yeah, this is going to be confusing. So I'm just going to select every other one again and save myself some polygons. And then go and do the same thing on this side. Okay. And you know, that's good enough for me. So again, go to element, select this, clear all, 1. So there's our glass. And we have a little bit of gap here, and I left that little bit of gap for, you know, I could probably scale. Yeah, that'll do. I'm going to put a little bit of a little gasket in there. So the way that I'm going to do that, you know, before I do that, let me put the glass on here just so we can see through it. Assign material to selection. And, you know, I might actually increase this to 20. And maybe make this, usually glass has a tint of green in it. And so maybe bring this down to 15. What did I just do? No, I don't want to buy that. Okay. Now it's awful green. Again, this is just stand in. This way I can see it. Okay, so our, save my work. Our gasket is going to be made with a torus. And again, so let's make a torus real quick. And let's go 36 sides. Let's go 4. And let's, well, that's not working right, is it? Oh, I see. We don't want twist, we want rotation. So that is a 45-degree rotation. Okay. And before I edit anything with that thing, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And by edit, I mean before I mess with vertices and whatnot. I'm going to rotate it. Then I'm going to align it to my glass. Hit OK. I'm going to scale it down. So obviously, there's too thick, so I can come in here and I can still adjust the can I adjust the height? Rotation radius 1, radius 2. I guess I can scale it. Okay, and I need to scale it up. And radius 2 is the inner radius, right? Or maybe not. Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's kind of annoying, but I guess we can work with that. So something like that. Okay, so I wanted to sort of peek out around the edges. And I think that'll be good. All right, so we can isolate this now. Convert it to an editable poly. And for this one, what I can do, instead of chamfering this, what I can do is just go to polygon, click on one, shift click the next one, and delete those, because they're going to be intersecting with the flashlight anyway, so no point wasting those polygons. With these, edge mode, double click, and chamfer. Actually, let's undo that. I'm going to do the back one. I'm going to chamfer it. Make it a small chamfer. Let's go to 2. Front one, just add some detail to it. I'm going to chamfer it. What's 4 look like? With one segment. Let's go 5. And then those 2 selected edges, now then I can chamfer at something small, like 0.5, 0.75. That's fine. Okay, so it just adds a little extra detail there. Just turbo smooth it, isoline. So we're getting that little face right there. And let's end our isolation. There we go. And oh, there we go. If you lose your place, Shift Z is how you can undo camera motion. Okay, so that's what we have here. We got that nice little gasket there. And select that. Let's get rid of our turbo smooth. Let's go to element. Select that. Clear all. 1. Did that not? There we go. So then what we can do, get our material editor, M. I think I have just a basic rubber somewhere. At least I thought I did. Here, what is that? I guess it. Okay, I have a black plastic. Yeah, let's go with the black plastic. Okay, so that is the front of the flashlight taken care of. Sealed up and ready to go. Okay, so we're almost done with this flashlight. The next thing is to model the, let me save here. The next thing is to model the pressure switch and the cord. Okay, so we will get to that in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, thanks. Bye.